Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. Well, this week we're planting our storage onions. These are the type of onions that you like to buy at the store, you know, that are nice big bulbs and you cut them up. Yeah, these are the guys that take the longest to mature. We started our plants back in January, right around the 15th of January. And I did an experiment this year that I think really kind of might set me back a little bit. I tried using some potting soil from just a big box store and thinking, okay, I'll amend it a bit, see if it'll work out for me. But I got to tell you, it doesn't look very good. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so these are my onions and shallots, and what I've got is I've got 3 trays of 72. I have 72 cells that are multi-sown for each type of variety. So I've got Matador shallots, I've got Cabernet red onion, and Bridger a yellow storage onion. And what I noticed is if you look at these plants, you go, wow, they don't look very green. You know, actually at this time they should be a little bigger. I didn't even top them this year, which might be a mistake. Usually what I do before I plant, a couple weeks before I plant, the onions are usually bigger and I'll usually kind of snip out the tops. But these guys have been growing really slow. And even though I did fertilize them a couple of times, it helped a bit. But honestly, I think there's something in the potting mix I bought. I'm not going to go into the brand because I personally don't think it matters. Most of these potting soils that you find at a home center are probably locally made. In our particular case, we're in the Pacific Northwest. So what we tend to end up with is the base of the potting mix is half rotted bark that's been shredded, and other wood stuff, so you know, that have been shredded. So it's kind of like, it kind of had a lot of oversized material in it, so I even had to sift it before I could use it. And frankly, I think I didn't test the pH on it, but I'm thinking that it's not a very well balanced pH soil. So I'm going to go back next year to making my own potting mix. I start with a peat base, and then I add my own compost into it, or a good mushroom compost into it, and kind of use that as my basis. They're not dead, so I'm thinking if I get them in the ground now, get them another shot of fertilizer, you know, and they'll green up and they'll start growing pretty quick. Today is March 12th, so what we're looking at is getting really close to ranunculus bloom time, and I just kind of want to show you, these are the ranunculus. Remember, we did a couple stories back in the day about fermented seawater, applying minerals, put some Jadam liquid fertilizer. I just want to say, look at these babies. These are, all of them have actually responded really well, even the ones that were really super limp. And so this perspective, I think the experiment was quite a success. And then I've even got an interesting thing. I've got a freesia bloom. Because I had taken some old crates that years and years ago I'd raised freesia in, and I didn't even know that was in there, and I just applied that as just a soil amendment. It was from the crate house at the time, and they came up this year, and also have some stray anemones that kind of did the same thing. But you can start to see, here's the first bud. Here's one of our first buds, and then we got some other ones showing color here. So we're moving along pretty good. We're going to have a really good crop. I mean, now look at some of these guys. The stems on these guys are going to be great. I mean, nice, strong. This stem on this guy is probably easily 2 foot tall from the base. So I'm really impressed with it. So far, I haven't seen any fungal damage or anything like that. We kind of had the tunnel shut down today because it's kind of windy and a little bit on the wet side, so I kind of didn't want things getting whipped around in here too much, and besides, I'd like it a little more comfortable when I have to work. This area right here, you go, well, look at that. Isn't that amazing? That guy's got dirt. That's incredible, and he's got irrigation on it. These are my peas. I direct sowed them. this last week, and I'm a little late on them, but this should still start producing for us in June, and we should be looking pretty good on that. So now what I'm going to be doing here on the outside row, this bed has not been amended yet. I just kind of scuffed it to get any weeds that were on it off of it. And what I'm going to be doing is applying the biochar like I did on this bed. And you can kind of see over the top of where the peas are planted, I had some extra compost and chicken manure. And mostly what you're seeing on the top right here is chicken manure. And so that's got the biochar, chicken manure, and mushroom compost in it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do to this outside bed out here. I'm going to put the same type of thing. Remember, we did the video on applying the biochar. I'm going to apply the mushroom compost and the chicken manure. And now that's all the fertility we're going to be adding to the bed until fall. Okay, so once we pull all our summer stuff out, I'm going to be buying some stuff ahead and storing it during the summer, and then apply it in the fall with some rock dust. I'm going to kind of up things a little bit with a little more. I'm going to get some azomite, I think, instead of maybe basalt rock dust. I haven't really decided which way to go with that, but before I plant the fall ranunculus, I'm going to want to amend this bed as well. You know, for things growing in the fall. But you can kind of see the Jadam fertilizer. I'm really impressed with these guys. This is the best looking ranunculus I've had in a number of years, and it really worked out well. So what I did is I bought just mushroom compost. This is from a farm supply place, and it's a local company that makes this stuff. It's basically, there's a lot of mushroom companies up here in the Pacific Northwest, particularly all the way up into Canada, that supply a lot of the mushrooms that you get in your grocery stores and things. And one of the things that they have as a byproduct is, after they're finished harvesting off it, they basically have to replenish their foodstuffs. And so all that organic material that still has a lot of fungal hyphae in it and stuff like that, they sell it off to these companies. And this is pretty much fresh bagged up. I think probably it's only been a couple of months since it was removed from the mushroomery. And so I don't have an exact date on the bag, but I'm guessing that it wasn't too long ago. I've used this stuff now this is my second year using it, and I got really good results. As a matter of fact, I even got some mushrooms growing in the beds last year, which I thought was kind of interesting. Okay, so the first thing on is the biochar. This is aged biochar. We showed you that video before about how we did that. Now, this is going to be a top dressing. Everything I'm going to do here is a top dressing, so there is no tillage in. I may just go back and just lightly scuff it in with a collinear hoe, down an inch or so if it's going that far. And it's just basically just to kind of get it scuffed into the top. And that's what I do every year. Now, you don't have to use a collinear hoe. You could use a rake or whatever, but I'm not moving my irrigation lines off the bed, so I don't want to sit there and stab it with a rake. But so it's really just pretty fast to go with the collinear hoe and just kind of scrape it in. And then I'll wet it down really good. And then the next step will be using my dibble stick to make the holes and plant. All right, as you can kind of see the row here, I'm going to be kind of in and out of the picture. So this is a professional photography here, multiple angles, multiple cameras, and not even close. So anyway, here I am on the outside of the picture, but this is the biochar, and it's kind of the same idea. I want about 1/4 inch all the way down, and I'm hoping I could be able to get about probably going to take me about 3 buckets to get the whole thing done. And this is the second year of adding biochar, and again, we'll probably do it for a couple more years until we get a really good level of it in the first 6 inches or so, and we'll notice that there won't be any more differences to plant growth or anything like that. So let me get this all done, and then we'll move on to the mushroom compost and then the top dress with the chicken manure. Okay, so we got the chicken manure on, the mushroom compost, and the biochar. Now, the next thing I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to take the collinear hoe and I'm just going to kind of scratch it in a little bit. Then I'm going to bring a hose in here and connect to the end of my drip line. And I'm going to water the bed down with a wand and let it sit for a couple hours, probably either be planted late today or first thing tomorrow morning. So I'm hoping that it's damp enough that I'll be able to plant it this afternoon. What I'm trying to get down to is I'm trying to get the soil moisture where the new transplants will have plenty of moisture available and they won't dry out quickly. So really, I guess at this point, it's just a little bit of elbow work, and we'll pick back up when we get ready to plant. Okay, I had a change in plans. I was originally thinking I was going to do 2 rows and space them out 8 apiece, but then I went back and I kind of thought about how I did it last year, and I really got the perfect size. And I did 3 rows, and so you can kind of see they're a bit of an offset. I went back through and I planted 1, 2, and then 1 in the middle and 1. So you can kind of see it's kind of like if you thought about, you know, the side of a dice where there's 5. It's kind of that same idea. It's not really a diamond pattern. It's just more of a, you know, kind of an offset. And so I've got shallots in the front here, and then I've got my reds, and then the back behind that are all my storage yellow onions. And so now I just got to get it all watered in, and this project will be done. So the question might come up to somebody might say, okay, great. You're spending a lot of money for fertility. And this is not, I'd say, your highest end stuff. It's basically, I got it from a farm supply place. I got these 1 cubic foot bags of mushroom compost. I used 2 cubic feet on this 50-foot bed. And this is the only time I'm going to apply it. I'm only going to apply it once a year, or I'm either going to apply for next year in the fall. But the whole idea is I'm going through at least 1 entire growing season before I apply again. So the question is do I apply this stuff in early spring, or do I apply it in late fall after everything's done? And so either way, like I said, it's only going to be once a year. So what I'm looking at is it's roughly $5 a bag for each one of these guys. And the chicken manure is the same price as the mushroom compost. And since I'm old and I got this really wrinkled face, I got a senior discount, which I took 10% off, which, you know, that's nothing to sneeze at. So I got 100 square feet of planting space here on this bed. And I put in 2 bags of mushroom compost and 1 bag of chicken manure. So that's 3 bags, and we're going to say it's $5 a bag with a discount, maybe a little lower, but it's $5 a bag. So it's $15 to do this entire bed for the year. Because everything else that I add from this point forward is going to be Jadam fertilizing solutions, or it's going to be K&F solutions, you know, for foliar spray, stuff like that. So I'm not going to be going out and purchasing any more organic material. Now, the reason I went this way instead of making my own is I really, it's a lot of work to make enough compost to cover these beds. And the material that I'm using here already is already pretty much rotted down one way or the other. This is rotted down mushroom compost and rotted down chicken manure. It's been composted a bit. And so I look at it as I'm probably not going to be applying the chicken manure every year. This is only the 2nd year I'm doing it, and I'm thinking probably I might do it 1 more time and then kind of wait several years before I apply it again, because it's pretty high in phosphorus. Although my soil is pretty low in available phosphorus, and it tends to have a lot of iron in it, so it kind of locks it up anyway. I'm not too terribly worried about, you know, getting a way out of balance, but it's just a matter of I don't think I need as much going forward after a couple years of doing this. And I can already see that the soil, topsoil in the first inch or two has already changed pretty dramatically, and between the biochar and this organic material I'm adding. And as we showed you, you know, the ranunculus, they're growing on a bed that I didn't fertilize yet this year. I won't be fertilizing it, doing this, what I did today, until they come out in May before I put in my melons. And so they actually did pretty good. And I guess I'm looking at it and saying, okay, so if I'm spending 15 bucks on 100 square feet, and you know, you just kind of think about it, you go, well, that's what, 15 cents a square foot, something like that. And for a whole year, that's pretty good. Now my math is probably wrong. It's probably like, no, that's not. It's $1.50 a square. No, it's not. I know it's not $1.50 a square foot. You know, my brain doesn't do math like it used to do. Anyway, so if you're looking at it and saying 15 cents, was it worth 15 cents a square foot? I don't have to go out and make any compost. I don't have to grab stuff and, you know, to put in the, okay, so the question is, was it worth 15 cents a square foot? And I think it is, personally. It's working out pretty well. It's adding enough fertility and enough organic material. The carbon I'm not too worried about in here, because that's going to be taken up with the biochar. So it seems to be, at this point, working pretty well for me. So next step is we plant our onions, and then we're going to be done with, the onions will take up about 2/3 of this bed. And then the front part of the bed will be other spring stuff, like we've got radishes and carrots and things like that to put in. So actually, I'm not going to put the radishes and carrots on this side. I'm going to put them on a side that I haven't applied chicken manure yet. So I kind of want to stay away from the manure with my root crops, other than onions, because onions doesn't seem to bother them. And then the peas, like I said, we already got them planted, and we're going to be starting our tomato plants this week. So we've got that. I think, you know, the veg season is just getting started, and you know, it's early March. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can get out of our garden this year. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching, and catch the pictures here of me finishing this thing up, and we'll catch you in next week's video. Stay safe. Bye-bye.